Greetings, I am Live.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
Yes.
You know what? Let's not do this kind of thing all the time together. Just sometimes.
Just like,
together.
I never want to do this at all.
Okay, well, you can do this never, but we'll do it sometimes.
I really don't do this kind of thing all the time. I hate everything. Guess when it comes to you, it just feels natural.
Because I've been doing it forever.
Because this has been the method of my life. Now, I understand sometimes with some people you just kind of get used to, like, helping them kind of thing, but I feel like that starts feeding into basically the trope of helplessness, of going, without me, you are not successful, which is a really strong thing in some in some stories, where they get really tropey, and you're just kind of like, your character literally goes, I can't make a sandwich without you.
I know, and we actually have a joke in our own role-playing and storytelling that's kind of charming, and it sort of mocks, or at least I think it's charming, that it sort of mocks some of the conventions that are in some romance, like books and like shows and things, where basically it's if somebody has done something for you in a romantic context, like, oh, let me help you up, oh, let me get the door for you, here, I made you a sandwich because I knew you were hungry, you then cannot do it for yourself.
Not at all.
And you have to depend on them for it.
So you have to really pick and choose what you're going to lose.
Right, and it's supposed to, like, we often use it in a funny context, but it's also meant to be sort of like a dark, sort of macabre thing of going, there is this idea that now that this person has given you affection, you can never get affection from anywhere else ever. Now that this person has kissed you, you can never kiss anyone else ever, kind of thing. And it's just going, okay! But it's really funny in the, oh no, I have been given a sandwich, and now I can never make a sandwich on my own ever.
Oh no.
Anyway.
I cannot do that thing.
So my supposition here would be it just feels natural of going, I've been doing it for so long, and even though so Splat had created distance between them. Sayori pointed out at the very beginning of going, we don't hang out that much anymore, we don't spend much time together anymore, we've grown apart. Even Splat pointed it out as well of going, we hardly see each other anymore, we're just kind of friends because we've always been friends. So you're not like functioning friends, you're just kind of that residual behavior of friends.
We go to work together, and therefore we are work friends.
Or that we were little kid friends in the way that you do side-by-side play, and you're just around each other using the same playgrounds and stuff, and that's considered friendship, and then you never develop beyond that, and whether or not Sayori is having a closer or more attached experience doesn't make the friendship itself closer.
Yes.
Because it's, there's 3 parts to a friendship. Each of your individual experiences and your together experience. Your mutual experience. And I think here going this, when it comes to you, just feels natural, sort of suggests to me that every time we do spend any significant amount of time together, I end up caretaking for you. Now, it can be that it's because Splat always insists on it, going, oh my god, you're a mess, I'll fix it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, you're a mess, I'll get it out of my way or make it stop.
Yeah.
But it is that sort of thing of going, it feels natural because this is what always happens.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Abusive relationships with parents.
Oh?
Because you're used to caretaking for your parents. You're used to your parents being invasive or causing you problems. This is just what your relationship is like. That's just what happens when I'm around you. We just do this stuff. We just don't get along, but we will always be attached to each other no matter what, because I'm not allowed to say no to you.
It's that thing that I've heard in, like, personal development, like coaching programs before, where they're like, some people in your life just aren't that good for you. Now, it doesn't mean you necessarily cut them out of your life, but you spend less time with them. And it's like, I have seen a lot of times where people are like, well, yeah, my mom's really toxic or whatever, but you have to see her sometimes, so we just never stay for more than a couple of hours.
And you know what? I actually finally had my therapist go, you know what?
You don't have to.
You don't have to. If it offers you no benefit at all, it really is. Like, guys, it might sound like cold, but it's also been a thing that I've struggled with for a long time. I have a horrible relationship with my mom. I always have, and it's been always an issue because I keep running back in this thing of going, but everybody says you're supposed to. You have to talk to your parents. They're your parents.
Yeah, if they want to talk to you, you have to let them.
And that you have to eventually have a relationship with them. There's always this looming threat. And it's like, therapists going, they offer nothing to you. What benefit? Like, if you were to take the mom part out of it, if you were to explain this relationship to anyone else, which is also a thing that my friend brought up at one point, what would they sound like to anyone else if you ever described your relationship? You would sound crazy.
Right? Like if they weren't, and this is actually kind of an experiment you can do in your life with a lot of relationships. Like if you feel like a relationship is extremely draining on you, but you have to have it, you can go whatever label it is that makes you feel like you have to have it, whether it's like boyfriend, best friend, mother, father, aunt, uncle, whatever it is. If you removed that label and then described your interaction relationship with that person, would it sound healthy or like something you would want or choose? And sometimes that can give you a little bit of space to go, I don't need to interact with this person because this is a harmful or draining relationship. And I appreciate that label is there, but that label doesn't give, them like basically leave to control that part of my life or to demand access to me.
And it's also one of those things where I think at the same time is this, that you might not be able to, let's say in a situation where you're still at home.
Right.
There's not everybody who's able to just leave home. I totally get that. But it will allow you to basically create some emotional distance and compartmentalization of getting yourself slowly just stepping away from them internally so that they can't hurt you.
Right. It can create sort of a helpful awareness boundary, and then it can start altering or helping you make new choices about how you're going to invest in them emotionally and react to them.
Yes, exactly. I guess when it comes to you, it just feels natural. Before I even know it, I'm treating you like that. Like a baby. Like,
All the time.
like you're small and squishy and you can't do anything, and I'm always fixing it, and I'm always like trying to like figure it out because you're fucking Bella Swan. What the shit?
That's what you need.
I guess that's what happens when you've been friends for so long. It just sounds sort of like, I just kind of like, Splat has, like, even just within the context of the story, this character's like, I'm trying so hard to move on from you.
Right.
You will not let me go. I want to do something else. I want to be someone else. And I've watched people go, no, but we've been married for so long, or we've been around each other for so long. You're like, yeah, and I don't want it. No, but we know each other so well. Like, that was one of the biggest problems for me that really kept coming up when I kept trying to leave my shitty abusive relationship of 9 years. And it was 9 years of this bullshit. We've been friends for so long. We just get each other so well. We just have these jokes and these memes and these role plays and these characters and this experience and these conversations and these stories that
It's
just
but
it's
all these other things that hurt me, that doesn't make up for. So we've
Yeah.
actually been talking, my friend and I recently, about basically cost versus reward in reference to an emotional experience. And we were talking about it in reference to a job, of basically going, some jobs hurt you. They're really hard to go to. They're exhausting while you're there. You don't feel appreciated or supported. You don't feel like the job gives anything back to you but a paycheck.
right.
But if the paycheck is enough that it provides satisfaction to you for your personal standards, then you keep taking the discomfort, the abuse, the frustration, the just like the tear down of the relationship with the job.
Right.
However, if the job starts pulling you down harder and harder without offering more compensation, or the compensation stops being more meaningful, then you're not going to be able to be satisfied at that job.
Right.
And there was the big company that we both worked at together, there was an experience as they advanced, as they pushed production faster and faster. And that is a thing that companies do. Like in a capitalistic society and in the way growth works with stocks and investors and stuff, you really have to continue producing more at all times and getting bigger at all times. Otherwise, you're not considered a valuable company anymore.
Yeah.
That is what's expected of a company, is growth and advancement at all times, never just maintaining, right?
Yeah.
And so there's this experience of demanding more and more and more from their employees without necessarily giving more back to them. Not even necessarily giving more financially, because that doesn't do it for everyone. A lot of people want emotional satisfaction, but there was this demanding of like, this will be your family, this will be your team, this will be your community.
Yeah.
But while they demanded that you behave and give in as though this is your community, there was no giving back to you in any emotional sort of support kind of way.
Oh, and it was really interesting too, because I remember actually walking through the business offices where the managers were sitting, and they would have their computers, and there was basically a wall display that made me incredibly angry, because they were like, we're trying to figure out how to get into the heads of the current employees, and one of the ways is you need to realize this current generation is very different than the previous one, where job satisfaction is really different, where God, they want to be a part of something, they want to feel like they're contributing to something, so that's something you need to literally fucking take advantage of. And it was just right up there on the wall, and it was like a part of this big huge step process. And one of the things that made me the most angry, because it was just like, you really don't care.
They're
like,
really just trying to deal with you like a statistic, in the way that people identify marketing demographics through science, and they use psychology to convince people to buy products or to do certain behaviors. It is a huge field of figuring out how you can basically psychology someone into purchasing your product or doing the behavior you want, which we've currently been reading The Power of Habit, which is a really interesting book. And it is about how habits are formed psychologically and how habits drive and power your life. And that's kind of neat because there's this really empowering spaces where you go, I can recognize habits in myself and in other people, and I can recognize basically, and it tells you about like triggers and how to reform habits and things. So if you want to change the habits in your life that aren't serving you, but most of it is couched in this experience of like market research and like capitalism and the success of companies having
manipulating people
through the power of habit and understanding the psychology behind it.
Yeah, and it's really like, to me, I'm like, it's fascinating, but it's also morbid and terrifying as hell because people are really just trying to figure out how to make as much money as possible in the most aggressive way possible. Like,
and it really is, and it's really interesting because recently watched a really cool video that just referenced in one piece of it an experience in the game Control. And in the game Control, which we've thought about playing, but we haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
There's basically a subplot, a tiny subplot about a book club where you encounter reviews of these various people writing about the book they read in the book club. And every single one of them spends it as a different genre of book.
Right.
Like, oh, I read this book, and it's clear they're all in the same book club or whatever. But then and one of them thinks that it's like a psychological horror, and one of them thinks that it's a romance, and another one thinks that it's mostly more like a documentary or something like that.
Right.
Like, I don't remember all the genres, but that it reminds me a little bit of this experience of reading right now The Power of Habit and going, with my current awareness of what capitalism is doing and the division between people and the whole coronavirus state that we've got going on, the book is kind of scary and uncomfortable. Like, it feels dark to listen to it. So it completely changes the genre from this is an educational nonfiction to this is like a dystopian horror. And, like that's framed as an educational.
Let's learn about the power of exploitation.
Like if you can, picture you're reading like a teen fiction like dystopian, but instead of having a main character or first-person perspective, what it is it's an instructional for getting through your life and framed as basically this big self-help book. But it's all written in reference to this, fictional dystopian society. That's a little bit what it feels like, except for it's a real society and it's ours.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I guess it's what happens when you've been friends for so long.
Really? Maybe you're right. Splat? I'm so glad that nothing's changed between us and that it's exactly the same as when we were really tiny and that you're just as same kind of like judgmental of me and like pushing into my space and demanding to control my experience by, deciding how to fix my problems and what should happen. It's really comforting, that level of consistency, to know that whatever care you ever had before that I got really familiar with over the years is still the exact same kind of care you have, and so it makes me feel like we just may never lose this.
Yeah, I'm real caring of trying to get you out of my space.
Do you think it'll be like this forever? Like, even we're like 60 years old, 80 years old, I'll just still be making mistakes and you'll just be fixing them, and I'll just still be having like terrible accidents and I'll be a mess and you'll just be telling me how to be better and how to not be in your way? Forever?
If I'm honest to myself, there's no telling what we'll end up, where we'll each end up for college or after that. Oh my god. So it wouldn't be fair for me to make any promises. Oh my god. Can I just not get involved in this conversation right now?
Oh god.
But, well, I hope so. Why did I say that?
Because if I don't that, she'll try and talk to me about why not.
Oh, okay.
I feel all the time that it's one of those that basically your MC is doing these answers in reference to it's sort of a non-committal thing. It's a feminine behavior that I learned a lot in conversation in reference to being like either like trying to avoid disappointing someone.
Right.
You don't ever give a hard answer of yes or no. You give a lot of maybes. Well, we'll see. Well, it depends on these things. And it feels like that's sort of what Splat is doing, this non-committal of, Well, I hope so. But you spin it a little bit positive, but it means you still have no obligation to do anything.
Yes.
You have no obligation for it ever to work out in any particular way because it's a non-committal answer.
Yes, and that's actually a thing that I have watched, though, even men do in regards to relationships or overtures towards something. Oh, well, it was a joke unless you want to take it seriously. Or it was this thing unless, would you like to really do it? But, it's only a funny,
I feel like that's plausible deniability, which is a little bit different.
But, I mean, that's also, I said I hope so, but you see, it just didn't happen, so there we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
you could possibly deny it, going well, I didn't say it would.
You said you hoped it would turn out this way. Yep, and that hope just didn't happen. Okay, yeah. I can see that.
You can spin it pretty aggressively, but that's the thing with non-committal answers. Mm-hmm. You can spin them in lots of directions,
And one of the interesting things about non-committal answers is they can actually be used to be really, in cases they can be used to be really, really harmful. And it's been used in movies a lot. And I always want to use a mafia example because it's that experience of, God, that Ricky Torino guy is just super irritating me. Oh, boss, is he a problem for you? I mean, he's just really up in my space. God, I wish something would fix that problem for me. And they go and kill him. I never told you to do anything about it. I never told you to fix that problem for me. I just said I wished it would go away. Uh-huh. And there's that big, strong, plausible deniability when it's driven someone else to action, and oftentimes action that was sometimes compromising to themselves.
Yeah.
And it can be something much, much smaller, like someone going, God, I wish someone would just, I just wish I had a soda. And then you go and you get them a soda, and you're like, here, I got you a soda. And they're like, I didn't ask you to get me a soda.
Wasn't that a thing that happened with somebody that we worked with?
It's possible. And
anyway.
I hope so, don't you?
I hope so. It's been this long already, right?
So
I can't imagine you ever changing, so my hopes are up. Please die. I mean,
I can't imagine you ever changing. Oh my God, that is, again, so even when they put in what could be considered softer or nicer dialogue, and again, this is framed as a more positive experience. It's got the softer music, she is smiling, even though it has that extreme angle of her being distinctively looked down on in a compromised position. There's a mixed framing here of going, this could be a little bit insidious, a little bit dark, but there's also that level of her, again, smiling on the soft music kind of thing, and her going, I am so happy about things, I'm so glad about this or that, and you going, well, I hope so. I put in a little bit more positive language here and there, and then it's, I don't see you ever changing at all. So it's the whatever opinion I have of you right now is clearly going to be the same forever because you will never improve, you will never vary, you will never alter, and that's kind of dark. That is, again, sliding back into that sort of assurance that Splat is the character we think they are.
Yes, and also the fact that, at least for me, framing-wise, too, when you have a character looking up at another character, it's usually a thing of, I'm dominant over you, or I have control over you, or also them looking up, that's very childish.
I say, them looking up at you suggests that you, the one being viewed, is dominant.
Yeah, you're the dominant character. You're looking down on a person.
Yes.
So it's a thing in regards to, I know a little bit about film, but I don't know a ton, but they really do talk about how it's really important to realize the language of film, because there is a thing about basically power poses or the way that they'll basically that they will film people rising up or falling down.
The placement of the camera is very important because it indicates how you're supposed to see the person in the lens.
Yeah.
And looking down on Sayori here is literal and metaphorical.
Yeah.
Splat is judging the shit out of her.
Yeah, and also, again, not thinking probably very highly of her.
I'm so happy, I say, with a sweat drop on my face and looking a little tense.
Sayori has a whimsical expression in her eyes. Whatever the fuck that means.
Yes, that's what I was doing too. What does that even mean?
Whimsical? God, we remain silent for a moment. As if this isn't awkward. She's so silly and clumsy on the outside that when I see her deep in thought like this, it makes me not want to disturb her. Please, stay there.
Your brain is working for a second. I had better let it finish its process or you may short circuit.
Oh yeah, you will blow up, honey.
I guess we should go back.
Poster paper.
Without any supplies or having done anything or gotten anything we were supposed to. No glue, no glitter, no markers, no paper. We should just go. I don't want to worry Monica specifically, just her,
Yeah, good luck with that. She's gonna see her forehead either way.
but I told you I could just move my bow to the front of my bangs, and I do have the bangs, you know.
I was about to say, she does have bangs.
She has pretty thick bangs, to be honest. And I appreciate that you can see the eyebrow through them, but that's just usually a standard anime convention. It doesn't usually indicate that the hair is so thin you can see things through it.
Yeah, no, I've actually always had that problem where people are like, no, it's my bangs, and then you have the hair, the
you draw the eyebrows through them.
And I'm like...
Or you draw the eye where you can see it right through the hair. That one's hilarious.
I'm always just like, I can't...
Is that supposed to be indicating there's basically one layer of basically strands of hair, like exactly lined up like monofilament kind of thing? And so you can see through it because when you only have one layer of a pale color of hair, you get to see right through the strands.
Because everybody's got a pale color of hair.
I guess. And not if I... Yes! Not if I hide it under my bangs.
Sayori hops to her feet and we are immediately done. She no longer hurts. She clutches her forehead again. Never mind!
We are not done.
We are not done with the pain, but you know what? She can hurt as much as she wants in the next one. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Watch me suffer, so please like, comment, subscribe. Please tell me you feel me. Yes! Oh my god, this is so bad. She's so terrible. I can't. No one appreciates the things that I go through. Like, my entire life. Let me tell you. I exist, and there's Sayori, and just, like, the pain. The pain is real. The pain. Do you feel my pain? Every ow from her is more pain for me.
Owie, 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 owie.
I am like Jesus upon the cross.
Ow.
I am sacrifice for the world.
I am a martyr in this situation.
Woe is me. All right, so, and also on top of that, if you want to support us, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or Patreon. We got some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!